Hey everybody! Today, Rahdo runs down Globe Twister, which is an abstract tile programming game where 1 to 5 players are world travelers who have returned home and are trying to unscramble their travelogue. And the way it works is, at the beginning, every player gets a frame, gets a bunch of programming cards, the same set, and you decide whether you're playing on the normal or the hard difficulty level. This log or this travelogue is what we're trying to reassemble. I'm just going to go with the easy one right now. So, everybody gets the same 9 tiles, and what you're supposed to do is just jumble them up. Mix them up, rotate them, spin them, whatever you want to do, and ultimately get them put into a 3x3. And make sure they don't flip. This was from the other side, so I accidentally flipped that in my mad spin. So anyway, so you get them all flipped up. And as you can see, my log is jumbled. What will I do? Well, first of all, I cover it up. And it turns out this is not my log. I will take this and give it to the next player by sliding it off to them, and then the other player will, on my other side, will give me one. So I wasn't actually jumbling my own log, I was jumbling somebody else's. And now I've got one that somebody's jumbled up for me. Don't worry, it's the same one I just did. Okay, and now, once everybody's got their log, they've got their programming cards, and they're ready to go, somebody shouts, 3, 2, 1, go! And you lift this off and you can start programming. Now, this is a real-time game. It is a speed game. And everybody can start using these cards to try to get this picture assembled back the way it's supposed to be. As soon as somebody has done enough work, all the work they want to do, they can grab the timer, flip it over, and that means everybody else has 30 seconds remaining before everybody has to stop. Now, let's just take a looky-loo. Right here, this thing needs to get over there. I need to move it over, which is not going to be easy, but at least I don't have to rotate it. This one here is rotated wrongly, as you can see. So I will take the counterclockwise, or the clockwise rotation, and I will put it in this slot. That means whatever tile is in this slot will get rotated. So that's going to be fine. And now, also, I notice it's the center. So I'd like to get this down here into the center. So I've got one. I'm going to put this right here in the center, which means that when I activate this card, whatever's here swaps position with whatever's there. So that's pretty nice. Then up here, I've got the Aurora Borealis. That is also in the wrong place. So I've got 2 ways I could take care of that. I need to get it over here. I could use this piece, which means I swap these two, so they'll swap, or I can use this piece, which means that this will move over here and then slide everything. I'll go with that one. Now remember, I'm trying to do this as fast as possible. I don't have enough time to really stop and think and articulate. By now, chances are somebody else, because I've been talking to you, will have triggered the 30 seconds. And now I'm like, I'm totally panicking. Okay, I gotta go. Okay, I'm gonna get that. I'm just gonna try and get it rotated back the other way, so that's cool. The bird, I need to get it up there. Hey, you know what? I've got a diagonal swap, so I'll try to get the bird into position. The walrus is 180 degrees the wrong way. Flip around 180 degrees, walrus. And let's see here. What else do I have? This needs to go here-ish. But I don't have a diagonal. I've still got this one that lets me swap these two or these two, which I don't think makes sense. Oh, no, I'll put this here because that's going to swap there, and I'm out of time. Out of time. Actually, I think I went a little bit long. Whoever finished first and flips this, then watches this and lets everybody know when they're done. Now, this was a very active programming. In my experience, you will not get this many cards programmed. Maybe half of them before time runs out. Either before you decide, oh, okay, that's good, let's just go, and you flip the timer, or somebody else flips the timer on you. But after it's all done, like I said, this was a very ambitious programming schedule. We then, one after another, all players resolve theirs with everybody else watching to make sure everything's cool. You resolve from top left to bottom right in reading order. So, first of all, I did nothing to this tile. This tile, I rotate. This tile, I take over here and slide everything else into position. Then over here, this tile, I rotate because it was wrong. Now the penguin is diving into the water appropriately. These two swap. Boom, boom. These two swap. Boom, boom. And, all right. And then see, poor Mr. Walrus needs to rotate 180 degrees. Nothing happened here. And now these two swap. Boom, boom. I have activated all of my cards, and then we move on to the next player. And meanwhile, I just go on ahead and get these ready. You don't have to keep them all laid out like this. You can use them as a hand of cards, however you want. But anyway, that was it. And after the first round, well, my travel log is kind of coming into focus, as you can see. I need to get this thing rotated. This is perfect. This needs to swap here, so I know I've got the diagonal for that. Now, one thing I'm not allowed to do is study and get ready for my next round. As soon as I'm done rearranging, I cover it up while everybody else is rearranging theirs. In fact, I forgot to mention, as soon as somebody says they're done and they grab the timer, the other thing they're supposed to do is cover it up so they can't continue to study and plan for what they're going to do on the next round. So as soon as we're done rearranging, we cover it up, and unless somebody is done, in which case they're the winner. If multiple people are done, there are tiebreakers based on how many cards people used on that turn, whether they used the special one-time cards or not, etc. Now, let's see. In this that first round I just did, I think I showed you everything except for these two. These are your most powerful cards. This one, let's see, where might I use it? Let's see. No, these can do a swap. This needs to swap there. Let's see, actually, I'm in a pretty good situation. I don't need to use it, but if I was in a situation where there was a tile that was in entirely the wrong place and none of my regular pieces could really take care of it, I can use this to take the tile and move it wherever it needs to go. If this needed to go over here, I can move it. You can completely ignore all the other types of movement. This one is the same, except not only can I move it, but I can rotate it as needed. But the thing is, once you've used one of those, they are out of the game. They can never be used again. So they're very powerful. Use them when you've got a particularly sticky piece that you cannot get around any other way. Or you're thinking of just one more thing, I could actually win this round, etc., etc. Although again, if multiple people finish at the same time, you want to still have these in your hand as potential tiebreakers. All right. That is the basic game. As you can see, I'm going to have to go through at least one more round. I need to swap these two, but I need to swap these two here. And that's really where the challenge of the games comes from. The programming itself is not so tough. It's the fact of how you resolve the programming. I need to swap these two first so that this is in this position. And then if I swap these two, this one and then this one, everything will work out. All three of these will be in position. Although, if I'm doing that, then this one will not necessarily be able to get rotated because it'll be up here. This, if I try to rotate this round, then I wouldn't be able to move it necessarily because I can do one or the other. Otherwise, so you can run into programming errors if you go too quick. And that's where the time pressure comes in. But then things just get that much more pressured when you're actually trying to do this one because there are no easy landmarks. You have to really study hard and try to unscramble this log, and so it really ups the difficulty. In fact, if you're playing with players of different skill levels, players on the, like if you're playing with kids, they could be doing the simpler one while the adults could be doing the more complex one, as an example. And there's other ways you can vary the difficulty. Maybe not everybody has access to the special powers, stuff like that. So, that's it, folks. That is the rundown on Globe Twister, which is a super charming, lovely little real-time competitive gateway game. This is definitely something for families or total noobs to the industry. It's very light. It's very silly. I will say there's one arguably significant problem with it, depending on the type of player you are. If you want to come to Globe Twister super competitive, there's a problem because that initial phase of everybody just rambling and scrambling things up, you can get in a situation where the log I've got to reassemble is much less complex than yours. Some player, if they really want to mess with their opponents, they can just make sure, while I'm scrambling, I just make sure every single tile is 100% upside down, because that means it's going to take forever for somebody because they've only got these three. One 180 degree rotates, so it's going to take a long time to rotate all these things. So that's kind of against the spirit of the game, though. You're just supposed to kind of randomly jumble things and stuff like that. But that invariably means some players might get tougher puzzles than other players, and there's really nothing they can do about it. They could try to go, this is really tough for me, so I'm going to make fewer moves and then try to squeeze my opponents for time. But, it is still an issue. You have to go into this game. Really is more just kind of a light, family-friendly, funly party kind of atmosphere. Now, one thing I suppose you could do is make sure, somebody scramble all their stuff, and then everybody else dutifully recreate that scramble so everybody has the exact same puzzle to solve. But the problem with that is, it means the process of setting up is going to give players a long time to stare at and study, so that they've already started programming before the clock starts. And really, that's why it has to be kind of a random jumble, so that players don't just, go against the spirit of the game. So, that's a minor little twist in Globe Twister. Twister. And like I said, that's really only going to be a problem if players come at this looking at it in an incredibly hyper-competitive way where they want to win above all else and they're concerned about, hey, this just isn't fair. I got a tougher puzzle than you randomly. That can happen, but if you look at it more from a perspective of, hey, this is just some light, fun, real-time puzzly stuff where players go as fast as they can and laugh when their friends goof up and cheer when one of their friends wins, and who cares? Let's just play again on the hard level. If that's what you're looking for, that kind of fun, atmospheric, real-time programming challenge, Globe Twister might be for you, and that is the rundown, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.